Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. Hello, Rise Up Nation. You are in for a real treat. And I say that almost every week, but that's because I don't invite people on here that I don't really like. So I have another one of those today. You are in for such a treat. And this is actually the person that kind of introduced me to how to do a podcast the right way. So I owe her a debt of gratitude. She has an incredible podcast that I hope we'll hit on in our time together today. But let me introduce my great, great friend and neighbor right down the street, Martine Williams. Martine, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Tad. This is, I told you as we were talking beforehand, keeping this to a 30-minute episode is going to be pretty tough for the two of us because we both are people, and I'm honored to be on the podcast and just chat as friends. I mean, it's going to be so easy and so fun.
Yeah. When I told her it was a 30-minute episode, I said, I'm going to have to call her like an hour and a half ahead of time to talk to her, and then we can get into the episode. But it's really good to have you here. And for those that are listening and you join me every week, Martine is not in the real estate space, but she is really, if you looked up the definition of the word entrepreneur, her picture is there, and she's got a great story to tell. And I do want to get to that eventually, but you guys know me. I want her to start by just telling a little bit about who you are. Like, give us the highlights, Martine, of who you are, where you are. We're in coastal South Carolina, but tell me about your family, about your heart a little bit. Just get us off to a good start with who you are.
Okay. So yes, I'm born and raised in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I live in Myrtle's Inlet now. I've been married to my husband, Shaw, for 22 years. We just celebrated our 22-year anniversary. I have 2 teenage boys. Lucas is 17, getting ready to fly the nest, which is a little bit terrifying and exciting all at the same time. And then Nash is my youngest. He's 14, so he's a freshman in high school, and learning all the new high school dramas and just how to do high school. So I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. I did not start out in the entrepreneur space. I know we'll get to that story in just a little bit, but I started out as a graduate of University of South Carolina and went to school and got a bachelor's degree in science and exercise science specifically. So I worked at the hospital in cardiac rehab for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Loved that job. Yes, loved that job. I honestly thought I was going to go on to be a physical therapist. My brother and I talked about opening up our own facility. But when I got done with 4 years of school, I was like, man, I'm done. Like, I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to start making some money. And I didn't really make a lot of money in my profession as a exercise physiologist, but it was fulfilling work. I mean, I really loved it. And people are like, how did you work with old people all the time? And they're precious. They just were. I really loved helping them. My goal at the end of the day was to get them to smile. That was my only goal at the end of the day. Feel better and smile before you leave this rehab facility. So that's a little bit about the kind of before entrepreneur life.
Yeah, I didn't see. We've been on here 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I didn't even know some of that stuff about you. And I try to be a good friend and ask you all the right questions, but apparently I've never asked you about that. I'll go ahead and say this because I'm obligated to. Go Gamecocks.
Yes.
And
we're having an okay year. Year. Last weekend was not so great, but you know what? It's the life of a Gamecock.
Listen,
you got to be in it for the long haul.
That is the life of a college. I forget that they're young men, like they're children, really playing an adult sport, and we give them so much pressure. My goodness, but yeah, go Gamecocks. And I should give a shout out to your husband, and these people, if you're listening to this, you don't know Martine and Shaw, they're just helpers. Like, I was talking to Shaw one day and I was out in my driveway and I was raking leaves and he goes, "You got a blower?" I said, "No, I don't have a blower." About an hour later, he drove up my driveway with a blower and he said, "Here's your, just pay this to me whenever you can. And here's some gas. And every time you need gas, just call me and I'll bring it by." I'm like, "Really?" And then my dock, I was having a problem with keeping my boat on my dock. It sank. And next thing I know, Martine and Shaw are driving by my house and saying, "Hey, this is what you need to do." I was like, they're just helpers. So I appreciate that so much. And you're going to have a half of an empty nest. Like, you have a kid going to college. That's crazy.
Yes. It's hard to believe, honestly. I mean, Lucas was 1 year old when I became an entrepreneur, and it's just amazing to me. I'm like, I cannot believe he's going. And so I'm trying to be, that supportive mom and just really just trying to cherish every minute that I have with him left in the house. And he's a great kid. I'm so excited for his future.
Are you super close to him? I know you're probably close to both of them, but like, is he a mama's boy?
No, he's not really. He's a little bit of both. Nash is more of the mama's boy. Lucas is independent. He likes to do his own thing. They both a little bit are, but we've raised them. We've been intentional about raising them to be independent and to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. But no, he's the funny one. He brings humor to the home, and he's always joking around, and so I'm gonna miss that.
Well, I learned that humor helps you find a wife. That's what I learned. So he's in good hands. He's in good hands. If he just keeps that up, he'll be fine. If you can make somebody laugh, you can get almost anything you want. And
exactly. I think I told you that. Like, if you can make me laugh, we're gonna be friends for life. And I mean, the very first time I met you, you made me laugh when I met you at that real estate event that I was speaking at. And yeah, I mean, we've been friends, fast friends ever since.
Yeah, you said that about your kids, and I know they've been a part at Myrtle Beach Christian Academy for a long time, and I know Shaw's involved there. You're involved there. This morning when I was dropping my girls off, some mornings are good, some mornings are moody.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Today was moody, and I was rolling them out of their car, like in the car line. And the last thing I say, I tell them I love them, but the last thing I say every day, I get to kick them out of the car. I'm like, make somebody else smile today. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like if you can do that, and Hazel was all about it today, but Hadley she was ready to tell me to go fly a kite. Seriously. She didn't want to make anybody smile. She wanted to go straight to trick-or-treating. I don't think they should have Halloween, like school on Halloween. It's impossible for a little kid.
It is. Well, and the next day too.
Oh,
I mean, they're all going to be sugared up tonight, not going to sleep well. I mean, bless all the teachers of America.
I know, Mandy.
We're going to be dealing with our kids tomorrow. At least we won't have to. We can just ship them up to the classroom.
We couldn't get our kids quiet last night, and Mandy said, "Okay, that's it. No candy tomorrow." I'm like, it's freaking Halloween. You can't take away candy on Halloween, no matter what kids do. I mean, that's just not even. I don't even want to enforce that. That's not good for me as a parent.
No.
It's not interested. So tell me a little bit. So I love your family. You guys are just genuine salts of the earth. I love your dad. He was so helpful to us when he was looking for houses and didn't expect a dime. I appreciate him so much. He just got back from fishing. I saw he had an incredible, they go to fish to Key West every year, down to the Keys and fish. And
it's in his blood, and it's in mine too. So
I know you guys are big fishermen, aren't you?
Yeah, we love it.
I saw you went offshore a couple times, but I'll give props to Skeeter Nash. He's been an incredible realtor in our market. And helped Mandy and I, like, it was just his nature to do it. And we almost ended up with a house over there near you, and it just didn't work out. I was so disappointed. Now I go over there in your neighborhood, and it's been like everybody's building. It's crazy.
Everybody. Yeah. There's 4 houses on his street right now that are being built. I'm like, are y'all just so annoyed by all the, and like, it just is what it is. So yeah.
That's just, you just got to get tire insurance, because you're going to run over a nail at least once a week.
At least. If I was on that street, I would be in the shop every week, because my tires just find nails. It doesn't matter. I could be on the cleanest paved road, and that one nail is going to find my tire. I
remember you were hosting a party maybe 6 months ago, and something happened to your car. You were going to get all the stuff, and all of a sudden your car died.
Oh yeah. I was picking up food for the party, and I hit the tire. I mean, I'm going to say the curb was in the wrong place. It wasn't the driver. But loudest noise ever, pulled in. Everybody's like turning back, looking at me like, what happened? And totally blew out the tires. That was not a nail. That was the curb. It wasn't me. It was the
Well, I
curve.
appreciate your honesty. You could have totally just not told me the truth there. See, that's the kind of person Martine is. She just tells it like it is. So tell me, like, here you are working a decent job that you seem to like, you enjoyed it. You were doing when you got out of school. And tell me, and I didn't put this question on your list, but I think you can answer it probably pretty easily. What was it that made you want to go into the uncharted waters of entrepreneurism, if that's a word? Why did you do that?
So it really wasn't that I was desiring entrepreneurship. It was, I was desiring to stay home. I remember, sitting, when I found out I was pregnant with Lucas, and, I was left on maternity leave after I had him. I remember like it was yesterday, sitting in Shaw's lap in the recliner, bawling my eyes out. Like, I do not want to go back. I don't want to leave him. It wasn't that I didn't want to go back to work, because I've worked since my dad had 2 restaurants. So I've always worked. But I just really felt like I wanted to stay home with him and try to be a stay-at-home mom. So that was really the catalyst for leaving the hospital, because I loved my job. I loved the impact that I was having there. But I really just wanted to stay home. And so we took one of the big leaps of faith that we've had to do over our years of marriage. And that was definitely the first one. And it wasn't that we were making a ton of money, working as an exercise physiologist, but we had great benefits, and it was very cup filling. But I knew that I wanted to stay home with Lucas.
That's pretty cool. And so how she'll say the word, she just said cup filling, and she talks fast, even though you're one of the 8 people that's from where you're from. So you got to talk slow, but cup, CUP filling. She'll make reference to that, because I think that's one of her favorite terms right now in her life. I heard it already a couple of times, but you were doing this job, and then how did you decide what you were going to do next? Like, tell me. I know you just gave me the why. Like, I don't want to be away. You had that I think it's just like a maternal pull, probably, of some sort.
Right. And some have it and some don't.
That's exactly. And it's okay either way.
That's right. No shame in your game. You just, whatever your desire is. And that was it for me.
And you felt it. And what did you do? Like, how did it unfold? Because you ended up pretty successful. It's just not like you went, I think I'll go do that. But
right. So then, this is so funny. So then I talked Shaw into allowing me to be his bookkeeper. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to stay home, I still need to try to help financially somehow, or just be a part of his business. So he owns his own power equipment business and dealership. And so I took an online accounting course, which is hilarious, because I'm not your numbers girl. I'm definitely more of your relationship girl. But that was like, okay, if I can convince him that I can be a bookkeeper, this will help him mentally with the finances and all that. And so his office became like a makeshift nursery. So I had a pack and play set up. I had a swing set up. Lucas was in there. I'm in there with the lights down, like quietly putting in numbers into QuickBooks. Thank goodness for QuickBooks, because I didn't know what in the world I was doing. I don't know how I passed that course. So I did that for about a year. And then the kind of bigger story here is that Shaw has, and still does, a lot of hobbies. Like, he loves to hunt, to fish, to play golf. He had lots of hobbies. He had a lot of friends that still lived in the area. Most of my friends after college did not move back here. And so we kind of found ourselves, or at least I found myself, in a place where I was very resentful of his hobbies and the things that he loved to do. And so he would go out golfing or hunting or fishing, and I was raising Lucas and, doing the bookkeeping on the side. I just felt like, this is unfair that he's doing all these things and I have nothing for me. And it was ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. And, when you're mad at your husband, you call your friends or you call, thankfully I call a mentor and that I've had in my life. She's still in my life today, and was complaining, like, I can't believe he's gone again. It's Saturday and I'm here with Lucas and he's just out, footloose and fancy free. And she said, seriously, like, one statement that changed the course of my life. And she said, he's not wrong, Martine. You need to find something to do.
Wow.
And that silence that you just heard is what she heard on the other end of that phone, because I'm thinking, man, girl power, we're supposed to stick together. Like, you're supposed to agree with me. But it was what I needed to hear, because and the fact was, he was not doing anything wrong. It was that I didn't have friends locally that I could connect with, go to a movie with. I was, my identity was wrapped around being the mom and being the wife, and I needed something for myself. And so I didn't initially seek entrepreneurship or to build a business or to grow a business. But, a couple of months later, my sister-in-law actually shared a catalog with me with 31 gifts. And I saw on the front cover, it was faith-based, and that was super important to me. And I'm like, I've never seen these products anywhere around here. It was $99 to start. I thought, okay, that's, I could spend that at Target on any given day. So if I mess up or I don't love it or I'm terrible at it, I'll have all these great products that I can keep and I maybe make some extra money on the side. But I really saw it as an opportunity to connect with women and to have some local and some me time.
Yeah. So I want the listeners to pay close attention. I loved a couple of things you said, like a mentor. The right mentor tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And that's exactly Correct. What happened. You were probably like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're supposed to be on my side.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the bottom line is she was. I mean, she was fighting for your marriage and you didn't even know it. Like she knew. I mean, and it's interesting that you quit your job. This is so interesting to me. And I've heard you tell this story before, but I haven't thought about it in this way. Like you quit your job to be a mom, but you wanted to continue to work. So you were a mom, but you were working. So you really weren't, you were doing both still, but you were at home doing it. And then you were doing that all week. And then the weekends came and he went and did his thing. And you were like, oh, what the heck? Like you were worn out already.
Right. Yeah.
But you could have easily, you could have gotten advice from other people that would have said, yeah, he needs to stay home on the weekends, right? He needs to help you. That's probably what you were thinking, right? But I love that your mentor just said, you know what? I mean, what's he doing wrong, right? He's living his life. How about you live yours? And that's really, and it led to an amazing thing. And I want to put a link to, if you're okay with it, in the show notes, I can put a link to that company so that if somebody wants to, I know you're not directly related anymore. We'll get to that. But I think it's really neat. Like my wife and you have she did not seek out. I want everybody to pay attention. You weren't seeking out being an entrepreneur. Like it wasn't like I have to do this. Some people are that way, but for you, it was like trying to find your way, and it led to great opportunities. You were open to it, and you did it. That's saying Mandy just like my husband, her at that time was doing all this stuff like work wise, and she felt like she didn't have a purpose. Right, they didn't have kids back then. They weren't able to, and she said, "How to start a real estate company." and then the rest is kind of history, right?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Your why, your bigger why, your emotional why is what gets you up in the morning to do your job. It's what keeps you there when the tough months come or the tough seasons come in your business. So you have to really be rooted and grounded in that. And for me at that time, again, I didn't think there was money in the industry. I just knew if I did not do something, if I didn't take personal responsibility to change something, that our marriage was probably going to crumble. And I was going to go down with it too. So I'm really thankful that she was able to speak that truth to me, because that is what I needed to hear.
Yeah, that's, I bet there were listeners of this podcast when they heard you say, I was going to be my husband's bookkeeper. I bet more than one person said, oh, that's the first way to therapy. That's the first way to marriage counseling. I bet somebody thought that, and tongue in cheek, they said that, but really that was the truth. So I'm so proud of you. And I know that you probably didn't hear that the first time and you were like, oh, I'm going to go do this. It's not that simple, but I'm proud of you that you made those choices. And I know he's thankful. You're thankful. Your kid, you only had one child at that moment, right?
Right. Yeah.
So really your second child might've been a result of a positive decision that you made at that moment. If you want to get over analytical or spiritual about it.
Right. Yeah.
Good for you for being, and I know you're still that person. Like I pay attention to your stories and your Instagram, and you're still that person you're always looking to improve yourself. Where does that come from? I mean, are you born that way, or your parents made you that way, or just you're learning? Or what is it?
I think, I was raised to earn things and not be given those things, to not expect things to just happen, but to work for them. And I do think that's why my work ethic is the way that it is. And the only way to be really great at your work is to always to be learning and to be improving. And the moment we think we have reached the top is the moment we're on our way back down. So we never arrive in business or in life. And so I think that I just have this love for learning and learn for improving. And I always want to show up my best. One of the things I ask myself, no matter whether I'm walking into a networking event or I'm walking into on stage or walking into my own home, is how do I want to show up and how do I want to be remembered? And so I have to be intentional. It doesn't come natural. You have to be intentional. We have to be intentional about our growth.
Yeah, I love that. And that you say it like it's second nature. And that's what I'm trying. That's the fascinating part about you, because it's not second nature. It is to you, maybe, but most of us really have to battle that. It is easy to be status quo, really.
Right.
And I think I love that about you. So tell me, so here you are, I'm going to spend $99 and see what it's like with 31 gifts. And what made you so great at it? Just tell me the brief story. Where did it go from there? How long was it? What kind of impact did you have? And then I want to get to where you are today, because I think it's interesting for the listeners.
So first they need to know I was a B2C student at best. I was fearful of speaking in front of people. Public speaking was not my thing. I think I failed it twice in college, or had to repeat it twice in college. And so the thought of getting up in front of someone and sharing my products and selling and sharing the opportunity and all of that was a total freak out moment for me. But I had my very first party. I invited, anyone and everyone that I knew. Didn't know how it was going to go down. And I had a successful first party. So that gave me the confidence. So if you're listening and you're about to do something new, just do it. And you gain confidence by doing. And so I had my first party, was very successful. The first year was amazing. The company was calling me, asking me to teach at conference. I'm like, what? Like, I had nothing to compare it to, Chad. I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. I didn't know what was good. I just knew that I needed to connect with women. And so I was driven by having these parties so that I could connect with women. And people were coming up, can I join? Can I join? Can I join? I'm like, sure, I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll learn it together, I guess. Yeah. So then I guess about 5 years. So I became successful, top income earner in the company within the first 5 years, and top title, in the company in the first 5 years. And everything was going really, really great. But it was kind of a pivotal moment for me too, because what had started out as a hobby, right? I was looking for a hobby. I was not looking for a career. Right. Became a career really quick. And I was preparing for a training for my team. So I have leaders that I was leading, and I was reading The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. If you have not read that book, you should read that book. It's thick. It can be intimidating, but you can read parts of it. And it came to a point where you had to kind of rate the 10 areas of your life and set goals for like your finances, your health, your relationships. And there were 10 different areas. And I was working through it myself, because I always like to work through the training first so I can have some relatability to the people that I'm teaching it to. And it got to this one section where it said, hobby and recreation. Like, how do you rate yourself on hobby and recreation, and what are your goals? And I kept skipping over it, and I kept skipping over it and kept skipping over it. And again, it's one of those moments I can remember like it was yesterday. Shaw was sitting in his chair and I was sitting on the couch, and tears were going down my eyes once again. I thought, why can I not think of one thing that I want to do for fun for myself? Like, what's the problem here? And I realized in that moment that I had lost myself in the process and in the pursuit to success. I had been pouring out and pouring out and pouring out and giving and working to earn, prizes and trips and all of these things that I didn't even know who Martine was anymore. And what had started out as a hobby had became a career. And so then I was back at that same place where I was getting resentful of Shaw because I didn't have anything fun. I didn't see it. I mean, it was fun and I loved it, but there was still something missing. And then I started noticing, as you do this really well too, other people who were struggling with the same thing. I started seeing that same blank face on other moms and women at the parties that I would talk to. And so God really kind of called me into this coaching and this helping women with burnout and helping women with, making sure they're taking care of themselves from an emotional standpoint, physical standpoint. And literally I was sitting at my desk and he made me go live for the first time. I'll never forget it. I was terrified. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to say. And he's like, you're going to say this. And I turned the camera on, went live, and people were just sending me emails and emails. I get this. I understand this. This is so me. And so I was still really successful with 31. I mean, I was with 31 for 15 years, but he just gave me this other assignment and was able to use my gifts of leadership to also speak life into women. So it wasn't no longer helping them just build their businesses, but it was helping them to build a well-rounded business around their priorities and their life and what matters to them. Because when I left cardiac rehab, I was helping people. And I'll never forget when I started 31, I'm like, all right, Lord, I like to help people and serve people. How am I going to do that selling bags? Like, it just didn't make sense. And when I became a leader and I started being a part of other people's success story, that was it. And I still feel that way today. I can help you be successful in your business. I can help you be successful in your marriage. I can help you be successful personally. And that's still my driving force. So I hope that answered your question. There's so much to add to the story. Like, we could be here for another 2 hours, but, again, stayed at the top of the company, love the company still to this day. And I am a different person because of that opportunity. God used that opportunity to really grow me. So now I speak on stages with thousands of people and I don't even bat an eye at it. I still get nervous because I care enough. I want to show up my best for people, but I'm a different person.
Yeah. So you answered the question perfectly. I love the fact you can tell by her answer that she's a faith-based person. Like, you should learn from what she just said, that you need to find your direction from somewhere.
Right.
It's not always best to find it inside, because our insides get confused, and you've got a guiding force in your faith and your relationship with God. And I appreciate that very much. And it's interesting to me that you've told a couple of stories, and they're still, what's sticking in my mind is you were at a low point, you were open, you listened, and you did. And so you didn't, it's not like you could have just wilted on the vine. You could have, you turned a weakness into a strength, I guess is where I'm headed with that. Like, you turned that, both times you told the story, you found something that you had in yourself and you made that in common with other people, and you used it to help. And I talk about all the time, people need to find their purpose. I don't care who you are, but the things that you go through, the things that you learn, the things that you're taught, those are for a reason. Like, we're on this planet with 8 billion other people. Like, someone else needs to hear your story. And, I've been divorced. I'm from a family that was divorced. My dad drank too much. Like, there's all these things about me that I'm able to use to help people behind me, and why else do we go through this mess? Right. So,
your past struggles are your present purposes. I truly believe that. I think we all wrapped up in what's my big purpose. Well, it's what God just took you through and you got through. And it's your purpose to help someone else through it, because only someone who's experienced, divorce, or someone who's experienced burnout, or someone who's experienced, this feeling of I've lost myself in pursuit of success can really help someone through that. Yeah. They can't relate to it. So, I'm still fascinated that you can say, it takes me 25 minutes to say something that takes you 30 seconds to say. I don't understand that. I'm still frustrated by that. Anyway. If you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990. God, we need 5 episodes. Tell me who you are now. You're not with 31 anymore, right? You're doing your own thing now. You're kind of finding your way again. Right. Yes. So,
mad respect for the company. You chose to walk away, right? It was
I did.
Again.
The hardest, big leap of faith. One of the hardest decisions I've had to make professionally, because who walks away from that security and that success, from a financial standpoint and the stability of the company. But I just knew. God literally just was like, I have another assignment for you. And this was a stepping stone. This is what I have used to grow you and to mold you and to give you that confidence to speak, that confidence to train, that confidence to coach. So he called me into a season of rest, and I've tried to be really obedient to that, because that is on purpose. And I've learned a lot through the rest. It's been it'll be almost a year. This January will be a year. Y'all know, you can tell I've always worked. So it was a struggle to kind of sit back and not do anything. But again, it's something I'll be able to help someone else through, because I firmly believe we shouldn't stay just because it's where we've always been. There may be something else that God is calling you to, another purpose, another group of people that you're supposed to impact. And a lot of times we stay because it's familiar. We stay because it's secure. And that's not always what he's calling us to. So right now, I am certified as a, PDP professional, which most people are like, what in the world does that mean? So I'm able to help my clients really illuminate their strengths of personality, the areas of their life that are causing stretch and strain, and also how other people are perceiving you. So that's really important if you have any career that deals with people, which most of us do. But we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves. I know for me as an entrepreneur, I spent a lot of time comparing myself to my strengths to someone else's. And what really happened was I would see all of mine as weaknesses. I would see only their strengths and all of my weaknesses. And so by being able to use what we call the Pro Scan, it really helps to illuminate these are, like, one of your questions was superpower. This is your superpower, and this is how you can show up and use your gifts of personality that are strengths, all strengths, to be successful in your business. And it's as unique to you, Tad, as your fingerprint. No one would have the exact same Pro Scan as you would. So that excites me. And that's what I'm going to be utilizing with my one-on-one coaching. And then I'm also going to be working on keynote speaking.
Awesome. So you would be like an end user for you, Martine, because I'm all about promoting people that I care about. Would be anybody really that wants to be better as an employee, a business owner, a husband, wife, child. I mean, I don't see a limit to who you can help with that Pro Scan, as you call it. I'm 100% sure you'll be doing it for us. So I'm excited to be your client. But how cool. You said, I love what you started. And I'm going to put the link. If you can tell me something reasonable, put in the link. I know some of my listeners will want to get to you and ask you about that if you're open to it. And I'm excited to see you speak too. I know that's how our relationship started. I saw you do something. So that was really cool. But you started that whole few minutes that you just talked by saying, I mean, who leaves the security of a job and does so-and-so? I'll tell you who. You do, because that's the pattern of your life, right? You're always seeking growth, and you're attentive to who and what. And I'm not trying to put you on a pedestal. I'm just saying in general, you're attentive to what you're supposed to be hearing from God you're following, right? Yep. So I think that's really cool. So I got to ask you these questions because my listeners are going to kill me if I don't. What is your superpower? I know what it is, but what is it? You tell us. And that's an awkward one because you got to talk about yourself for a minute, but what are you best at?
It is, but I love this question because I think so many people don't know what their superpower is because they think, well, everybody has it. They think it's ordinary. And when I tell you mine, you're going to, I remember thinking, well, everybody does this, or everybody has this ability. And mine is the ability to encourage, inspire others. Like that's how I've built all of my businesses, is through connecting with people. And there were times where I would say, well, everybody's an encourager, but they're really not. I mean, and that's not saying anything bad about those that are not encouragers. There are people who build business on strategy and numbers, and there are people who build businesses on relationships. And I had to really kind of had to come terms with that is my superpower, is being able to encourage others and to see. I can see the positive in people just naturally. Like I'm able to look at someone and bring the positive out in them. And that's also a great quality to have, especially as a coach and a speaker. But even before they believe in themselves, I can see that positive. I believe in them before they believe in themselves. And I think that's really important because so many people are walking around discouraged and they don't even recognize the superpowers that they have. So I love that question. I love that you ask all of your guests that question because it's also what I'm able to do, through my coaching with the PDP. So I love it.
I think we're a little bit.
Would you agree with that? Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, 100%. I think we're very like-minded in that we, the fingerprint comment that you made is fantastic because I've been trying to figure out how to describe. The way I look at the world is if you're not doing your thing, that thing is getting undone. It's not being done. Like I can't do your superpower and you can't do mine. Specifically, you don't have my fingerprint. So if you're sitting out there and listening to this and you are not using your fingerprint, shame on you. You've got one. You got to figure it out and use it. So, and I'm an inspirer. So I understand that. What that means is Martine would be a great friend. So find her on social media, find her on Instagram. And I mean, it's always good to have an inspirer as your friend. So I love that. Yeah. And I know that I knew that's where you were headed with that. Your kids are lucky to have you. I don't know why I feel led to say that. Maybe you're having a tough time with your kids right now, but they are lucky to have you as a mom because my mom was an inspirer. She's not with us anymore, but I do things today like I don't know where I learned to hold a door. for women, but I never let a woman get in a car without opening the door. And that's not sexist. It's not because she can't open her door herself. And I thought my dad taught me that, but he didn't. It was my mom. Isn't that bizarre? Like,
that's bizarre because Lucas does the same thing, and Shaw doesn't open the door for me. That's just not, he didn't learn it from Shaw, and that's not, I'm not bashing my husband for not doing that. It's not something I've really expected him to do, but Lucas has just naturally done that. So maybe it has just come from inspiring him.
It's Lucas's love for you. It's a way he can show his love for you, because I didn't know that when my mom was alive. But now looking back, I'm like, it was my way of showing love and respect for her. And then it poured over to the lady at the mall. I mean, I do not I'll run to get the door. I don't care who it is.
Like, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah. And listen, I'll hold the door for men too. It's not all about that. So don't write
me.
Oh,
right. Seriously. No emails, please.
No emails. If you got emails to send on that one, send it to my producer. I don't know who that is, but send it to her. Anyway, tell me a book. I know you got 15, but tell me a good book recommendation for us.
So the number one.
Did you write a book?
I have not yet, but there are several people that are like, you got to write a book. And so today, actually, when I was walking, there were all these thoughts going through my head as I was thinking about preparing for this podcast. I'm like, I need to be audio in this, just so I have it, and then I can just start putting some chapters together. But I journal, so I'm sure I have 5 books in some journals. But no, I have not written a book yet. I co-authored a book. I will say that I co-authored a book called The Life Lessons, and so I just have a chapter in that book. But yeah,
you should listen to my last guest. His name is Sammy Knight. He's a 65-year-old great friend and mentor of mine that just wrote his first book, and he tells a story about when he was a 14-year-old boy walking through a graveyard at a funeral with his dad. His dad turned to him and said, "Look at those tombstones, son. See what that one says? Great father, great son. That one says great mother." He goes, "Those things matter while you're here. But if you don't leave some of those things for the next generation, you're doing the next generation a disservice."
Yep.
So he said, you got to put it all down in a book. So there's your challenge. Listen to Sammy and get your book written. So tell me one that was written by someone else that you love. Okay. Sorry, that was a tangent.
No, I love that. Well, see, these are all God winks saying, okay, I'm giving you some other people that are encouraging in this. So The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews is one of my all-time favorites. It's the only book that I have read in one single day. It basically talks about 7 principles for life. I've heard him speak. He's just one of those people that it's just amazing to hear speak. But one of the 7 principles is the buck stops with you. And he talks about personal responsibility. And I remember when I read that book, it really spoke to me. And even when you think back to my Pat story, like the buck stopped with me. I could have chosen to continue to be a bitter wife and resentful of Shaw, or I could take personal responsibility to find something to do, right? I could have sat back and continued to be burnt out in the business, or I could have taken personal responsibility. So I'm a big believer in taking personal responsibility for your life and for your decisions, because if you blame, and a lot of people doing this today, we blame COVID, we blame interest rates, we blame, companies and this and that and the other situations. But when you do that, you give your power away. So if you own both your successes and your failures, and you have 100% responsibility for those, then you have the power to change them. And he really talks about that in the book, just in that one principle. So, and there's actually a young Traveler's Gift also book for, I would say preteen, teen, and both my boys have read it, and it's amazing.
Who's the author? Andy
Andrews.
Okay.
He has several books, but that's one of my favorites.
We'll put his the link to that.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot to say this. My friend Martine has an amazing. Hey, did you notice I started up by saying "Rise Up Nation" and I say "Hello, friends"? I learned all that from you, by the way. She's got an amazing podcast. Tell us about your podcast. I know that wasn't part of the notes, but tell me.
No, that's okay.
Listeners, so you can do it.
I think it's funny because it's not part of the notes, because when we first came to our interview, I showed them all my notes that I have. I like to be prepared for speaking engagements. So that's really cute. You're like, it's not in the notes. So the podcast is called the Mompreneur Life Remixed Podcast. And I primarily work with mompreneurs. And so the podcast is all about helping you to keep your priorities in alignment. I believe that's why it's called Remixed, because I believe that hustle culture has been overtaking lives. I've seen women sacrifice their health, their relationships, their mindset, everything on pursuit to success and that hustle 24/7, 365. So I really started the podcast to kind of reframe mindsets around how you can build a successful business and be a successful mom and be a successful wife and friend without burning yourself out. So you'll find Turquoise Talk interviews with other guests so you can hear their inspiring stories. Tad was also on there. And so it's not just, it's not all women that listen to the podcast, but it's a awesome. Great, if you want a place where you can listen and be encouraged, it's definitely a place for you to go.
Yeah, you should all listen to that, especially those of you that are mompreneurs. I love that word. I didn't even know it was a thing until I met you. And if you should listen to that. You can find it on all your hosts. I'll put the link to it in here. She's got a new episode coming out soon, so we'll do that. To wrap up, tell me what we try to talk about on Rise Up in Real Estate is real estate. That's the topic of our podcast. We got a lot of real estate talk today. Tell me what you do in your own life, maybe to kind of rise above the fray. Is there something that you do to kind of rise above average on a daily basis that maybe would help us, our listeners and me, do that too?
Yeah, I firmly believe that everyone listening is gifted by God to do great things, but we can't do that in a state of burnout or stress or overwhelm. And so I have kind of a 3-prong approach to protecting my biggest asset, which is myself. You are your biggest asset to your business and to your families and to your other relationships. And so those things are only as good as we are. So the 3-prong approach would be mind, body, and soul. And so I'm very fiercely protect my mind, what I allow into my mind through listening, what I read, what I watch. So I'm proactive in listening to podcasts. It's free, y'all. It's a free resource. Like don't tell me you don't have time to do it, because you can be putting your earbuds in and while you're doing your hair or putting your makeup on or shine your shoes or whatever. Like there's no excuse to not have personal development because podcasts are free. So I love podcasts. I love reading. And so anything I can do to set my mind up in the right space. So that's the first one. The second one is body movement is medicine. And I believe that we should be moving our bodies every day. That comes from my exercise science background as well. But so I'm either walking the dog or, I'm not a big CrossFitter, but if that's your jam, then go for it. But walking, doing the Peloton, having a trainer if you need the accountability. So movement is medicine. And then the third one is my soul. I'm a woman of faith. And so I'm in the Bible, I'm doing devotions, I'm praying. And I saw a quote that my office is covered with quotes. If you were in my office, you would see them. I'm covered because those are always things to keep that positive mindset, right? Just how you feed your mindset. What comes in goes out. And so that's why I'm really protective, and why that's part of my rising up. But it said, walking with God is her great game-changing strategy. And that's true. He's what guides me. He's what gives me the strength to try new things. And when the days don't go right, he's right there to lift me up and encourage me. So walking with God is my game-changing strategy. And that's part of my soul.
I love that. You're so transparent, so authentic. You've been an incredible guest. I will do you again on another episode where we talk deeper about several things. I feel like I owe you almost an apology for not letting you peel back more of the onion, because there's so much there for my listeners to hear. I don't know, you're just authentic, and you're a good person for people to connect to. So if somebody wants to reach out to you or wants to find you, tell us the best place to find you.
Right now would probably be either the podcast or on Instagram. My website is actually being redeveloped right now, so you can't find me on a website anywhere. But if you just find me at Instagram at Martine31Williams, that's the number 31. So at Martine31Williams, send me a DM. Let me know what you thought of the episode. If you have any questions or anything at all, I am relatable. I am approachable. So it's not going to be a bot that responds to you. It's going to be me that responds to you. So come find me on Instagram. That's the best place.
Awesome. What is do you have, you said this is putting you on the spot. I love it. I had a great question in my head. What, you said you're working on a keynote.
Yes.
Do you have a topic or title yet? You got a direction yet? Or is it still brand new? You're still throwing a lot of things around?
The problem is not the problem. I shouldn't say the problem. The opportunity is that there's a lot to my story. Right. Yeah. There's a lot to the things that I want to share. So I'm trying to streamline it down. But you can best bet it will be not just inspiration, because inspiration without implementation is just inspiration. but inspiration with implementation is transformation. So I will inspire, but I'll also give you some things to walk away and put action behind so that you can have that transformation that you want. So that was the long answer to a short question, but I don't have a title for you yet.
I've been looking.
I may need to talk to you a little bit more. Maybe you can pull it out of me.
No, I know what it'll be, and I'm just waiting for you to discover it. You just keep looking. I know what it's going to be. But that's really amazing how you just explain. I knew I'd get another quote out of you. Like, she's reading quotes on her desk, but she's the quote queen. I mean, I'm telling you, she can put.
They're all up here because here's the thing: like, your behaviors are born in your mindsets.
Yep. 100%.
We don't protect our mindset, and we're not putting those quotes in. When the negativity comes, you don't have anything to fight back with. And so I'm putting on the full armor, and the mindset is one of them.
Yeah. You're awesome. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Our guests they've been given a great gift today, and I appreciate you giving it to them. So thank you, Martine. You're amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do what I love to do, which is to pour into others. So this was fun.
We'll be looking for you on the big stage.
Yes.
See you later. Thanks.
Thanks.
Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.